Hey, how's it going everyone? Zach D Productions here, and I'm here with a list video for you guys. So for this list, I'll be going over underrated movie sequels. Now keep in mind this list is in no particular order, and this is probably not going to be a long list either. I'm probably going to go over about 4 or 5 movies for this list. So let's go ahead and get started. Now, I think the first film I'll go over here is Batman Returns, with, of course, Michael Keaton. And I think when it comes to the live action Batman actors, I do think Michael Keaton is the best one, in my opinion. Definitely a great Batman for sure, and he's great in this movie. And you do have Danny DeVito in this movie as well, who plays the villain. He plays the Penguin in this movie, which I thought his Penguin was actually really freaky. I mean, this is definitely a really scary version of the Penguin, which is kind of weird because when you think of the Penguin character in the Batman universe, you don't think of someone that's really freaky looking or whatever. Like, you more so classify other villains in that category, but not so much the Penguin. But the Penguin in this movie is definitely really freaky and even has a really dark backstory as well. And overall, this is definitely one of the darkest live action Batman films. And you do have Michelle Pfeiffer in this movie as well, who plays Catwoman, and she does good in this movie for sure. So you do have a pretty solid cast overall. So Batman Returns, great movie, and definitely an underrated sequel. Maybe not as strong as Batman 89, but still very strong. I mean, those two movies I think are really close. I mean, not much separates them, in my opinion. They're both almost on the same level of greatness, and I would say that both of them are probably the best, the two best live action Batman films, I would say. So Batman Returns, great movie. If you have not seen this one, definitely give it a watch. So next we have Back to the Future Part 2. Definitely an underrated sequel. It definitely doesn't get enough attention as the first film, which I get it. I mean, when it comes to the Back to the Future trilogy, the first film is definitely the best, I would say, and I think a lot of people would agree on that. Now, when you get to the sequels, it seems like they're a step down from the last. With that said, I think Back to the Future Part 3 is the weakest of the trilogy, but with saying that, I still like the movie. It's still very solid. And I think we can all be in agreement that there is no bad Back to the Future film. But when it comes to Part 2, I do find this one to be pretty underrated, actually. I know there's a lot of fans of this franchise that say that it's the worst of the trilogy. I do not agree with that at all. I mean, it is the darkest of the trilogy when we're talking the story. And this is actually the film where they go to the future after all, which is cool. And in this film, you have Marty basically messing up the timeline with the almanac and everything. And you, of course, have Biff, this being this leader, like he's all rich and everything. And it's a fun movie for sure. And that's what you get with all three of these movies. It's just plain fun. I mean, they're classics for sure. All three of them, they're classics. And, of course, I do have some nostalgia for these movies as well. So there you go. So Back to the Future Part 2, I would say it's an underrated movie sequel. So next, we have Jurassic Park: The Lost World and also Jurassic Park 3. Now, I decided to combine these two together because, well, I do think that when it comes to these movies in particular, both of them do get their fair share of hate, especially Jurassic Park 3. I don't understand the hate for this movie in particular because I really do enjoy Jurassic Park 3. I mean, of course, this movie is known for the Spinosaurus, of course, and I do like The Lost World Jurassic Park as well. Also a very solid movie, which, you know, I like both these movies. I mean, yeah, both these movies, they're not as strong as the first Jurassic Park movie, but these movies are still very strong. I really do dig these movies a lot, so can't go wrong with them. But I would say both The Lost World Jurassic Park and Jurassic Park 3 are somewhat underrated, even though, yes, you do have your fans of them, but these films also receive a lot of hate, especially the third film. So let's go ahead and move on to one more movie for this list, and that would be The Expendables 2. Now, when it comes to the Expendables sequels, I think Expendables 2 is easily the best one. And I would say this movie is underrated because I know there's a lot of people that say The Expendables never needed sequels, the original film was the only good one, and while I would agree that the first Expendables movie is the best of this franchise, I would say Expendables 2 is still a good movie. It's still a good movie. I mean, after all, you do have Scott Adkins playing one of the bad guys in this movie. Also, Jean-Claude Van Damme plays the lead villain in this movie, which I do like him as an actor, and I do enjoy a lot of his work. And of course, when it comes to the Expendables, you do have a lot of your fan favorite action stars. You, of course, have Sylvester Stallone and Arnold. And I do like that Arnold does play a much larger role in this movie. And of course, Jason Statham, I mean, definitely one of today's best action stars, I would say. Jet Li, I do like Jet Li, but he's not really in the movie too much because I think I heard at the time he was doing a totally different movie at this point. So that explains the lack of scenes with Jet Li. And of course, Dolph, I do like Dolph Lundgren as well. So there you have it. Now, when it comes to the other two movies in the Expendables franchise, Expendables 3 and Expendables 4, Expendables 3 I think is all right, and I do like that Mel Gibson was the villain in that movie, and I do like Mel Gibson as an actor. Expendables 4 you can honestly live without. That movie never needed to exist, in my opinion. That movie was just simply not good, easily the worst of this franchise, but yeah, Expendables 2, I do like this movie, and I do find it to be somewhat underrated. So that is my list for underrated movie sequels, just some underrated movie sequels based on my opinion. Let me know what you think. What are some underrated movie sequels in your opinion? Feel free to let me know. So with that said, thank you for watching. Have a good one.